Hello everybody, today we're working on a 2003 Monte Carlo. It's one that I've had on YouTube before, and the last time I had it on, it was a catalytic converter that was plugged on it. Today the codes we're working on is a P0440 and a P0443, and they have to do with the evaporative emissions on the car. And what we're going to do is, I've done a little diagnosis on it already. I'm going to show you the different parts of it and the things that we found on this car, and hopefully it will help you with your diagnosis on your vehicle. So I'll show you the parts and we'll go from there. Be back with you in a second. Okay, we're at the driver's side rear of the car, and the vent solenoid for the evap system is up behind the back wheel, and I'm going to show you that now. And what we have with this car, it's driven on gravel roads a lot, and that vent solenoid has a filter in it, and we're going to take this vent solenoid apart and I'll show you how it's put together. But what we have is the road dust has been sucked in to that vent solenoid, and from that vent solenoid it goes up to the charcoal canister, and from the charcoal canister what we found through looking at the system, that road dust has made it all the way up to where it's being sucked into the intake, and I'll show you the purge solenoid as well when we get that far. But I'm going to show you where that vent solenoid is and where that canister is at on top of the fuel tank. So we'll head to that right now. Vent solenoid, or that vent solenoid, and the vent is right there. There's a 3/4 inch hose on it, and there's a plug-in, and that hose leads over to the evap charcoal canister, and that's on top of the fuel tank. I'll show you that here. Kind of work our way back to that. Now that fuel tank's going to have to come down in order to get that off, so we're in for a little bit of work with that, but you know, hopefully the bolts ain't too rusty. But we're going to take that canister out, and we'll kind of show you the difference in weight between that and a brand new one. It's going to be full of dust. It's been sucked in, and what we're going to end up doing here is putting on a filter system for this whole system. It probably maybe should have been an option from the factory, but it's out of warranty, so the factory don't care anymore. But we're going to try and fix this problem with filtration, and we'll show you how we're going to do that. But we'll show you the vent or purge solenoid here in a minute. So get back to you in a second. Okay, I'm going to show you the purge solenoid for this car, and it's right up here, right by the intake, right here on this motor mount, and it's got a plug-in on it for electrical for the computer. Then this here comes from down at the charcoal canister, and this here goes into the intake. And if you take a look at the inside of this, and let me get a little light on it. If you look inside this tube right here coming from the charcoal canister, you can see the white dust from being sucked through the whole system. And to kind of show you a little bit better shot of it, I'm going here with a Q-tip, and I can kind of show you that dust that we're getting all the way through that system. But it's pulling it all the way from back behind that wheel through that entire system. But that road dust has made it all the way up as far as this engine. So we're probably going to end up replacing this purge solenoid as well, because I'm sure that the valve itself here is probably full of that real fine dust, and it's not going to seal up properly. So we'll tear down some of the other parts, tear them apart, and show you what they look like inside. Get back to you in a second. Okay, this is the purge solenoid. Got that out, and I cut the head of it off. Right here's the plunger for the solenoid, along with the seal right here. But the big thing I wanted to show was the fact that all that dust was really getting up into that solenoid, and you can see kind of there where it was seating on that seat right there. That's the seat for the solenoid valve. That's where the plunger seals the vacuum. But it's getting worn from the dust, but you can also see the dust where it came in from the tank right here. You can see it down that tube. From that tube it goes right into the engine. So kind of showing you the reason we changed the purge solenoid as well. Alright, we'll get back with you. Okay, this is the vent solenoid for the evap purge system, and I've got this one off. In order to get that canister off, or that vent valve off, we bend that tab a little bit. We can wiggle that off there. And then the solenoid part of it's right here, and that can be taken off as well. Simply pop up the tab and rotate it sideways about not quite a quarter of a turn. That'll come apart, and that's basically your vent solenoid assembly. And then this here is basically the canister with a filter in, and it's got little tabs here. We'll pop that lid off, and I'll show you what that filter consists of. It doesn't consist of a whole lot. When I took this apart initially, and this has been apart and I've cleaned it up already, When I took this apart initially, it was full of dust in here, packed full of that real fine limestone dust from limestone roads here that we have. And this filter is a very coarse filter. It's going to stop the bugs and the rocks is about it, but that fine dust is going to go right on through it. So basically that air, when that Purge Solenoid is calling for purge, it's pulling air in around this umbrella here and on down through that filter, and then from the outside in it comes into this tube, and that tube goes over to this solenoid, and then from here it goes through that solenoid and over that through that hose to the charcoal canister. So what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate this filter here, and we're going to use just the solenoid assembly off the new one, and we're going to hook a 5/8 heater hose to this, and we're going to bring it up to the front of the car in the engine compartment, and we're going to put a filter on so that all the air that's being sucked into that system is filtered through a filter, and it's being sucked from a much cleaner place than from behind the back wheel. So we'll take down the charcoal canister and we'll get back with you. Okay, this is a shot from the back of the car. This is what we had to take down to get the tank down. We took the mounts off here on the mufflers. These rubber mounts, popped all them off, and we took the 2 bolts loose up on the exhaust manifold as well. And that allows you to drop down the whole exhaust, set it on the floor, and then you got the 2 tank straps. And once you get those off, and you can kind of tip the tank to one side and get back in here and get a better shot. Right here we can kind of see the top of the tank, and right there you can kind of see where that canister goes. We sucked all the dirt and the dust that accumulated. There's probably about an inch of dust up there on that tank, but right in there in that back of that tank is where that sits, and there's a strap that holds it on. That strap can be released with a small straight edge screwdriver. So that kind of shows you what you have to do to get that purge canister out. Not the purge canister, but the charcoal canister out. Okay, we got the charcoal canister out, and right here's where the hose hooked up from that vent solenoid that we had behind the wheel. You can see inside it's just lined, and just the powdered dust has gotten in there all the way right into that canister. This here's the line that comes from the tank where it pulls the vapors off, and this one goes up to the purge line up on that intake manifold. And you can see here just how much that real fine dust that this has accumulated on the outside. It gives you some idea what's getting sucked in. It's this real fine powdered dust, and that stuff just, it's hard to stop through that coarse filter. But you can see it's just a real fine limestone dust from the gravel roads. So that's what we're dealing with, and I'm going to cut this thing apart here when you get a chance, and we'll get back with you. Okay, we got our charcoal canister cut apart, and you can see here where all that road dust has been getting in to that charcoal. And this is where that hose come from the vent valve. You can see they got a foam filter in there, but again, you can see all the dust that got sucked in. And then right here is where the tank and also where the purge valve go, and you can see that there's quite a bit of dust been running through this as well. So that dust has basically gone all the way through the system, all the way up to the intake. So we put on a new charcoal canister, but again, you can see just how bad that road dust infiltrated all that. It's quite a mess. There's a lot of it in there. I mean, it was just packed full of it. So, alright, we'll get back to you. Okay, this is a new solenoid vent valve for the Evap, and this is the way it was mounted on before. Basically slid on just like so. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to modify it, and what we're going to take off just this vent solenoid, because it's got the exact same slider in it. We're going to mount that basically right on there just like that, and then push that tab down. That'll lock it so it can't come off. And now this will go on, and the hose going to your charcoal canister will go on right there, and then the 5/8 heater holes will go here, and that'll be run up and strung along the bottom of the vehicle up to the engine compartment where we're going to have our filter at. So that kind of gives you some idea what it looks like, and then that'll bolt back up right where it was. So we'll get back with you. Okay, I'm going to show the modifications we did to that vent valve on the Evap. What we did is we installed just the vent valve without the little canister it was attached to. And there's a red hose up there it's hooked on. What we did is we took that red hose all the way to the front of the vehicle and kind of followed along the fuel tank lines. And it comes right along by the fuel tank. And it goes all the way up front. We come up here by the back of the transmission and engine area, and we'll go back up on top side and show you where we put the filter at. And right here is the filter. It's basically an oil filter with a head, and this here is going to be your intake, and on the bottom side is where the hose goes on down. And it runs back. You can kind of see the red hose down there by the master cylinder. Goes on down. What that'll do is allow us to pull in fresh, clean air. Up here it's not pulling a lot of dust like it was behind the wheel. It's going to pull it in, go through the filter, through the outside of the filter, up out the center, and down the hose and back to that solenoid. So all the air going back to that canister, charcoal canister, will all be filtered now. So that should alleviate all the issues with the Evap emissions as far as the dust goes. So that's the modification we did to take care of that problem. And again, we replaced the purge valve, we replaced the charcoal canister, and we also replaced the vent valve. So, but not everybody's going to have this issue, but I know there's some out there who do, and this is a way to alleviate it. So thank you. I'd like to introduce you to AMSOIL's full line of products. For our motor oils for gasoline engines, we have the OE oil, which is good for 3,000 miles, 3 months, or original equipment drain intervals out to 7,500 miles. The next product that we have is the XL line, which is 10,000 miles or 6 months. And we also have the Signature Series, which is our premium line. And that line has been out since 1972, so you're looking at 43 years of 25,000 mile drain intervals, or 12 months. And those are the three options that we offer for drain intervals for what each individual's comfortable with. And I invite you to take a look at them. They'll outperform any oils out there, bar none. So thank you for looking. Thank you for watching my YouTube video. Please check out my other videos on my YouTube page. And I want to introduce you to AMSOIL's full line of synthetic lubricants. We have the most complete line of synthetics for your automotive and light truck needs, as well as heavy equipment and semis. Full line of synthetics, been around since 1972, and you can check those out at www.donsoil.com. Also, we have a page for looking up fluid capacities, and that one is fluidcapacity.com. And you can go in there and you can get all your fluid capacities of your vehicle. You can print off a list so that you've got all the capacities of your cooling system, your transmission, your engine, all those. And have a great day.